How's it going, everybody? Ragroth here. We are doing another wonderful podcast today about Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, and once again, I am joined by Epyon Gaming and Skullstar Productions.
How y'all doing?
Hello.
So, the main topic of today was basically about this. I just call him Purple Guy because we don't have a name for him or anything yet. It's the new character that was shown in the trailer. He's got the purple hair. I believe he has kind of a red kind of outfit. He's seen with two. One's a katana, one's a more relic-like weapon fighting female Byleth. Before we get into that, though, I did want to run down, just maybe we could talk about this a little bit. I've recently been able to make community posts on my YouTube channel, and I don't know if anyone that is watching this has voted, but I figured we could just talk about them real quick, just because I don't know how long we're going to talk about the whole deal with this purple guy, because we know there's only so much we know, but the first one I made, because I made two of them about Three Hopes. The first one was a more aesthetic thing. I actually probably should have waited longer to make this one, but it is what it is. I basically said, who has the best redesign in Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes? And the options were Edelgard, Dimitri, Claude, and someone else like Hubert, because he was the only other character we really saw in that trailer that's at least established.
Mm-hmm.
And there was 5 votes. There was, I'm guessing there was 1 for Edelgard, 1 for Dimitri, 2 for Claude, and then 1 for someone else like Hubert. I'm guessing it's because Claude probably his design is, I should say the time skip design is probably most similar to the time skip design he had in Three Houses, while Edelgard and Dimitri are a bigger departure. I guess, would you agree with that, guys?
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Claude really didn't seem to be that much different, in terms of his design. I don't know if that's for a story reason or if the team were just like, well, we can't really improve on this.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of both, because I think, well, we know Dimitri goes through some shit and the time skip, and we know Edelgard's position definitely changes, so that's probably why their designs change so drastically. Claude,
Yeah,
he's probably still
comparatively
the same,
speaking. Comparatively speaking, Claude's Claude does not have a dramatic change in character or design from after the time skip. At least in my experience playing the Verdant Wind route.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always just kind of feel like with the main characters in three houses, it's just like 2 of them are at each other's throat, and the other guy's just like, look, man, I just work here.
Yeah, that's essentially
in the background is just going.
And fittingly enough, he's easily the most comedic of the 3.
Oh, yeah, the most laid back, the most comedic. Yeah.
And he's an absolute political fox, though. The guy's a genius.
Yeah, I know. I haven't, I have little experience with. I have the least amount of experience with a character compared to Dimitri and Edelgard, but he seems like very, I guess he seems a lot smarter than you would kind of think from someone kind of laid back and more lackadaisical. Well, yeah, I guess lackadaisical, more comedic.
Yeah, that's an applicable adjective.
And
it's kind of the one trope of obfuscating stupidity. He appears to be clown-like, but he's actually pretty intelligent, so to speak. But anyway, didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I feel like a lot of anime and video games, they have that character, they're kind of goofballs, but they're really smart. One that comes to mind, just because I'm in such a huge Bleach mood right now, probably Urahara from Bleach, the dude with the hat and the clogs. He's a goofball, but he's friggin' genius. And we got a comment. It's from the one and only Mark Yoon. He said, I voted for penis enlargement pills, but the diarrhea blocker won. Yeah, I had that poll as well. I was really rooting for the penis enlargement pills too, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the other 3 hopes, poll I made. This one was actually the most recent one I made. This one I think was probably a more apt one to make and definitely went well with the recent podcast we did. It was in Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Which would you prefer, no clones but less characters, or more characters but less unique? And the options here were no clones but less characters, more characters but less unique, and kind of what I was suggesting at the last podcast we did, where maybe characters aren't 100% unique, but they're a little bit more unique than they were in Fire Emblem Warriors, and we still get a healthy amount. And there was 4 votes so far, at least. And 75% actually said no clones with less characters. 0 said more characters but less unique. And 25% kind of said the middle of the road option. So I thought that was interesting because I feel like we were kind of leaning more towards just, take more characters even if they're less unique, or kind of a middle of the road option. But again, this was only 4 votes, so
Gotcha, yeah.
And I think I might make another one later down the road, kind of asking more about what people think about the redesigns when we see more characters, because I was definitely premature, but whatever. Okay, so now we could talk about. And Mark said, "I'm definitely looking forward to the Muso, but I need to finish 3 houses." I am right there with you. I need to at least beat one of the routes. I need to.
Yeah, I never actually beat the Verdant Wind playthrough. I got up to I think I'm about to fight Edelgard. I don't know how far into the path that is. I don't know how far into the story that is for that route.
Do you remember which chapter number you're on?
No, I just remember that I'm at her home base or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, okay. Enbar, the capital city.
Okay.
Enbar, yeah. I got up to Enbar, and then I just kind of fell off of the game for whatever reason. But I do keep meaning to go back to it. What'll probably end up happening is once we get a release date for 3 Hopes, that's when I'm gonna go back to 3 Houses and just kind of power through the last of the Verdant Wind campaign.
Gotcha. I was gonna say, do you want to know how many chapters are left in the thing? Because
why, have you played through the
it sounds like you're farther than me, but then again, the Golden Deer route could be different.
Why have you played through the Verdant Wind route there, Steve?
I've played through pretty much all of them so far, so it's so yeah.
Yeah, I think Steve beat everything except the Ashen Wolves DLC, if I recall.
Yeah. And Ashen Wolves is friggin' tough. I had trouble getting through the first mission, and I still haven't beaten that one yet.
So then, I guess out of curiosity, how much farther do I have to go?
I'd say you got about roughly 3 more chapters, I think, at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I only have a couple more chapters too.
Mm-hmm.
But and Mark also said, I'd rather have more characters, especially since a lot of the kids emulate their parents, but their personality is more unique. Well, I agree, but remember, Mark, there's no kids in this game. I mean, there are kids. Yeah, they are technically, but then they get
there's no actual child units in 3 Houses.
Yeah.
Unless they manage to mod them somehow, I don't know.
Which is the first game not to do so after having it twice in a row with Awakening and then Fates.
Oh, we did actually also have a release date. I think it was June 22nd, 24th.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Well,
cool.
I guess then more to the point, it would be, once I see a little bit more about the game, I guess.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I definitely want to get back to it. I want to at least beat one route. I would personally like to beat at least the Blue Lions and Black Eagles route, at least, but that's probably wishful thinking, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so now Purple Boy. So let me get a picture of this guy. Let me get a picture of this.
Yeah, I'm curious as to who this guy actually is now.
This totally not Grow from Soul Calibur 6 guy. That's who I actually first think. I don't know, guys, how familiar you guys are with Soul Calibur 6, but one of the new characters in that
I stopped being familiar with Soul Calibur after they introduced Star Wars characters. I forget which Soul Calibur that was.
That was 4.
Yeah, like four is the last one that I actually owned / played. I mean, granted, I think I did play 5 at a friend's house at one point. Whether that was you or Dave's house, I don't remember.
Oh, and Mark also said, one of the reasons I haven't finished it yet, the relationships are my primary driver. I haven't seen them beat Awakening yet. We can thank Steve for my awakening to the series.
Anytime, man. It's such a good game, though. Awakening's one of the best by far, I think.
Yeah, that's I guess unfortunately the downfall with starting with Awakening is that you're kind of used to a lot of the things that game introduced. But like we started with I guess 7, so like we weren't used to that stuff yet.
Admittedly, I never beat or played through all of 7.
I haven't either.
So Awakening was while Fire Emblem on the GBA was my first exposure to the series. Awakening was the first time I would consider myself a fan of the series.
Yeah. Yeah, the first one I think I beat, I think, was maybe Ike's first game, but I did eventually beat Sacred Stones, though. But I feel like I beat Path of Radiance first. I think Ike being in Smash Brothers Brawl, I'm like, all right, I have to beat Path of Radiance now just to honor the occasion.
Yeah, I think you actually got me into what's it called?
That's not
in the Sacred Stones, as a matter of fact, because that was such a good game.
Yeah, I do love Sacred Stones. Sorry, I shared the wrong tab.
And I will say too, if you guys ever get a chance to, please finish Fire Emblem 7 Blazing Sword. That was a fantastic game.
I think if they port it to the Switch or even remake it, that will definitely be a lot easier for me to do.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree with that sentiment. All of my Game Boy Advance games and DS games are currently at my parents' house, so I just have to, unearth them and bring them over to my new house.
Gotcha. Oh, and Mark also said Soul Calibur 6 is a reboot, perfect for Josh to jump back in. Yeah, Soul Calibur 6 is one of the best entries in the series. I actually thought about making some Fire Emblem characters in that. That'd be cool. But yeah, Soul Calibur 6 is fantastic. And yeah, this character, he kind of reminds me of Grow. He was one of the new characters introduced in
Wasn't he like the edgelord character, if I remember correctly?
Yes, he was the edgelord character. Well, first of all, I guess he uses a kind of a dual weapon, just like this guy does. The only difference there is his is more like Darth Maul, where it's like a double-bladed sword, but you can detach it. And this guy, we've only seen him use 2 swords separate. But yeah, so he's this purple-haired dude. It looks like he has a katana, which is interesting because I don't think there are any. Are there any katanas in Three Warriors and Three Houses?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah,
I checked. There weren't.
I don't specifically remember any katanas in Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Because some Fire Emblem games do. I forget which ones. I feel like Awakening does.
I think the closest they came to it was probably the Killing Edge, I think.
That's it. That's right. The Killing Edge is basically Fire Emblem's katana. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, same with the Wodao, similar weapon to it.
That's right. Yeah, they're just not the standard iron sword and steel sword and silver
exactly,
sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I guess maybe he has a Killing Edge or some other sword unique to him. And then I guess that looks like a relic weapon. Am I right to say that?
Yeah,
I think so.
I would say that looks like a relic weapon.
Looks like some kind of a chain blade or something like that, given the way the blades kind of link together.
I would almost say it's. I would almost say it has like kind of a chainsaw looking like thing to it, based on like the silver part along the blade.
Yeah, yeah.
Like maybe that's like a chainsaw bit, kind of like Corrin's sword.
Oh yeah,
back in Fates.
For some reason, the hilt, I don't know why, it reminds me of the Monado, Shulk's weapon in Xenoblade.
To me, it looks like. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was saying, I guess probably just because of the association with Nintendo and their RPGs and all that.
Yeah, to me, it looks almost like a bow and arrow sort of a thing. It looks like one hat. It looks like 2/3 of a bow for a bow and arrow almost.
Kinda. I wonder
If you're just
Yeah.
focusing on the
the
hilt.
handle. Yeah, it makes me wonder though. I wonder if he could take those two angel wings and maybe pull them up on the chain, and make a bow out of it or something like that. That'd be pretty freaking cool.
Yeah,
That'd be neat. Yeah, hopefully it's not just like, I mean, it looks cool regardless. Hopefully there is like kind of a trick to it, kind of like Byleth's weapon. I forget, the creator sword, I believe it's called. Like, I'd be
yeah, the
cool if
sword
it
of the
has a trick to
creator.
that.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, and Mark said, could it be a time travel thing? Descendants from Fates looks futuristic. Time travel thing, I wouldn't be super shocked with. Because like, yeah, funnily enough, kind of like Grow, he does look a little anachronistic, not that much, but a little bit. I mean,
Mhm.
it's probably not anything from Fire Emblem Fates, I would say, because I don't think houses, I don't think 3 houses is connected to any of the other ones.
Yeah,
But yeah, I can agree. It maybe is a little bit more futuristic, just like a little bit more.
the thing
And
that
it's
sticks. Oh, sorry.
oh, go ahead.
The thing that sticks out to me is how odd the sword looks in his hand. Like you can, like, is it just me or does his like hand look a lot more faded than like the sword that he's holding? Like I don't know if that's like a lighting issue or like a Photoshop thing.
I think
don't
it
know.
might just doesn't help. I can't really see his other hand. I think it's just a lighting thing. I want to say,
Hmm.
yeah, it is like trying to mimic the movements. But and you know what's also interesting? I know this isn't about the purple dude, but Byleth doesn't have the sword of the creator.
Oh yeah,
Just have a regular plain old sword.
yeah, that's
Kinda.
odd. Maybe it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, you get the sword of the creator later in the game. But given
Possibly.
that they're going with like an alternate future for the story aspect, that could be related.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, hopefully Byleth gets sword of the creator, and I do hope Edelgard gets um her relic weapon. I know it begins with an A.
Yeah.
Oh,
My
the eye
question
mirror.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
my question is, so does this mean that like female Byleth is the canon Byleth for this game?
I'm guessing they're
If
gonna do what Fire Emblem Warriors did, and female Byleth will be the canon one, but you can unlock an alternate skin with like a different voice for male Byleth. Kind of with like Robin was the male Robin was the default Robin in Warriors, and you can unlock female Robin in like the side mode, and
Oh yeah.
then female Corrin was the default Corrin, and then you can unlock male Corrin in the side mode. So that's what I'm
Mhm.
guessing, and I'm hoping. I mean, I love, but both Byleths I think I like maybe about the same, but it would be nice if you could get both.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what sort of level of customization they give you with Byleth in the story. Like if they give you the same amount as 3 Houses, where it's like, oh, you pick your gender and then you pick your name, or if it's literally just like, no, you're Byleth, you don't get to pick the name. This is an alternate future. Here you go.
Yeah. And and Mark also said, sort of reminds me of the angels from Evangelion.
Hmm.
I could see that. It's
Mhm.
has that kind of mainly that hilt. That hilt I think is the most, at least to me, the most standout thing.
Yeah, and but in regards to Purple Guy's identity, I only really had about like 2 ideas.
Mm-hmm.
The first is that this is an alternate Yuri of the Ashen Wolves, because I know he had purple hair.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm like maybe tangentially like that's how they get the Ashen Wolves into the story, is that like, and make them more important, is that now the alternate version of Yuri is like the antagonist or the rival character, and he's involved from the start. So now the Ashen Wolves have more of a time to shine, I guess. Uh,
Yeah.
the other idea, or the the other possibility I considered was that this is a child character.
Hmm.
That'd be something.
Of course, a child character of whom I don't know. Part of me was like, oh, maybe Byleth because their eyes are similar, but I'm like, that's just kind of like the anime style. Their eyes look similar. That's not necessarily meaning anything.
Although you may have a point, though. It could be a corrupted future Byleth or something like that, given the appearance.
That
Yeah.
was actually a theory I have thrown around. Like maybe that's like a corrupt version of male Byleth.
Mm-hmm.
And I did actually, honestly, when I first saw him, I did think of Yuri at first. The only thing is that makes me think it's not him is just because Yuri has a much more like feminine, gentle
he's
face.
much more feminine with his facial features. Although I guess you could put forth the argument like, oh well, it's an alternate future, so maybe he doesn't use makeup or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess maybe in the future, like his face structure could have altered. He could be an Ashen Wolves character, though. I mean, we only know 4 of them, I think.
Yeah,
4 of them,
as
and then
far
like
as I
their
know, there
leader
were
or
only
something.
4 of them to begin with, for whatever reason.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the child character one is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on this, Steve?
Pretty much the same ones you've had so far. It's either a corrupted male Byleth or a Yuri from an alternate timeline. But I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. It could even be an entirely new character. You never know.
Yeah.
So here's a kind of funny one that I did kind of cross my mind, and I guess it's not impossible, but I don't think it's true. Some people have thought it's Holst, since we talked about him last time.
That would be interesting, actually. He got a hold of a tainted mushroom, and it finally got him corrupted.
Because I mean, because I mean, Hilda has pink hair. Do you ever see what either of her parents look like?
Really?
No, you don't.
So
although
maybe
I did hear that Holst has a scar on his face.
Oh, okay.
I think, unless I'm misremembering that.
Let me see if I can get another picture because maybe I get a picture of the trailer. I don't think he has a scar, but for the hell of it, just Google Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes purple haired guy. See if anything comes up.
Let me just double check the wiki to see if he actually is supposed to have a scar on his face, though.
I think you are right. Damn it.
Or maybe I'm just thinking of like. I think I might have just been thinking of fan art, actually.
Actually, wait, hold on. I just saw a close-up picture of the guy. Okay. So, oh, come on. Here we go. All right. So, I'm going to share this picture now.
Hang on a second, please. Pardon me.
And Mark said, future son of Yuri and Byleth? Well, if Yuri was actually a girl, probably, but as I have been so if I've been so deceived, he is not a girl. And he said, mad he got an F in class, came back to F shit up, LOL.
Sorry about that.
It's all good.
2 for 2 of these streams today, I swear to God.
Oh, okay. So
Doesn't it kind of look like he has some kind of scar?
Yeah, and according to the wiki, Holst does sustain serious injuries during the Verdant Wind route.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose I inadvertently spoiled that for myself, but oh well.
It's all right.
No worries.
it's a minor character that you never actually see.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah,
kind
so
of
it could be Holst.
looks kind of like a broken mask almost too when you look at it as well. That's kind of cool looking.
Yeah, it reminds me of Camus in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And woman on the right, that's Monica, isn't it?
That's the girl we think is Monica.
Yeah.
Looks a lot like her too. Yeah.
Though, actually, to be honest, even though that kind of does look like a scar, if you notice, I believe his eyes are glowing in this picture, so he might just get that when he's in his power up mode or whatever.
Yeah, it might be like a battle mode or could be just like war paint or something.
Yeah, because going back to the other picture, his eyes, I don't think are that color. His eyes in the other picture are just like a deep purple. In this, his eyes are like yellow.
And his hair here is pink. Although that could just be a lighting thing.
Yeah. And another thing to note is I'm going to bring up another picture of the cover, but it'll be a little different. And I have a feeling this character is probably connected to our purple boy. All right, here we go. So now you see how, like, across from Sothis, there's this mysterious white-haired character with, I believe, a mask. I know the pictures, yeah, it's a little far away. Sorry. She's got white hair, a mask, and I'm guessing she's probably this, or I think it's a she. I think probably the Sothis to Purple Guy's Byleth, I'm guessing.
Possibly from a different timeline from the looks of it. Like something got corrupted, something went horribly wrong from the looks of it.
Yeah, like it looks like well, it reminds me of like how Lysithea has like the white hair because of horrible experimentation and whatnot.
That could be that as well. Because I know people with green hair in Three Houses, it does mean something special as well, right? Like,
yeah,
they're a descendant of Sothis or something.
Yeah, something to that effect, like they're related to her or something.
So yeah, so I guess that brings up another question: who is this white-haired character? But like, I'm guessing that the only thing we can say there is probably just the Sothis to the purple guy.
Yeah, or maybe it's like one of those things where it's where it's like a god and a demon are like playing a game and using Byleth and the others as their pieces or something like that.
So essentially, demons and gods playing Fire Emblem, as it were.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I'm trying to think of other. I think probably the safest thing to say, it's probably the most boring theory, is that they're just completely, well, maybe not boring, but probably just least twisty, is just that they're probably just totally brand new characters, probably just brand new additions to the lore. It's probably the safest guess, at least. But it would be cool if they were connected to somebody else. I would say if they are the child of anyone, it would definitely be Byleth. It's just then who's the mom or dad
or father? Yeah.
What if she possessed him and came back for some revenge? Hence his mask and eye change.
What if who possessed him?
I'm guessing if white-haired lady possessed purple guy.
Oh.
And yeah, that's a good point, because I think Steve said it kind of looks like the scars look like a mask, and she has a mask on.
Or maybe it's like the mask thing is like that character's version of the power up that Byleth gets in the midway point in Three Houses, where his like hair goes from like dark green to like light green because he fuses with Sothis. So it's like maybe that's that character's version of that.
Yeah,
That's definitely possible. That's what I was
like a
thinking.
dark fusion, as it were.
Hmm.
And then I guess, So yeah, he has some kind of crest weapon and then just a katana. So then I guess the next question is, I guess, is this character a good guy or a bad guy? Or will they maybe be a bad guy at first, but then they kind of turn good at the end?
I'm guessing I'm leaning more towards the third option. Just uh, based on absolutely nothing. Like if that character in the top right really is like an evil Sothis, then maybe it's like, oh, you're the only one that can help break him free of her or his possession or something like that, and then he becomes a good guy. I don't know.
I think that's a pretty safe bet. I feel like he's one of those characters that he's like, seems like the antagonist, but then it's like, oh wait, no, I'm not actually bad. I was just misled or something. And then there's actually a bigger threat, possibly the white-haired character, or possibly something else. And Mark said, that's why I think it's Byleth's kid and Whitehair possessed him to come back and get rid of his parents. Yeah, it's possible. It is.
What do you think, Steve?
As far as the the whole, which one now? Sorry. So I've been getting sidetracked with constant text messages. I'm sorry.
Sorry, like I guess, do you think he's a good guy, a bad guy, or maybe a bad guy that turns into a good guy, or even alternatively, maybe he's a good guy that turns into a bad guy? Maybe the story will end with him being the main villain.
I would say
like Daros or whatever his name was from the original.
Yeah,
possibly. I think he's somebody who is might have just gotten corrupted in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe an original timeline hero from where he was from, but fell to darkness. So I'd say more like somebody who's just possessed, if anything else.
Yeah, it's a safe bet. And then I guess the next question is will he be a playable character, or will he fall down will he follow the same fate? Will he be more a playable character like Owain and I forget the female character from Fire Emblem Warriors, or will he unfortunately be unplayable like poor Darius?
I'm operating under the assumption that he will not be playable. That he will be an NPC you fight several times. Maybe you get control of him in the story mode once, but he's not playable.
I mean, I'm probably operating on wishful thinking here because I would like him to be playable. But I think what kind of helps him that didn't really help Darius is he's on the cover of the game. Unlike he's on the cover of the game like Owain and the girl.
Lucina?
And also what was the name?
Lucina?
No. Remember how Fire Emblem Warriors, there's like the two avatar characters. There's a blonde dude. I think his name is it wasn't Owain.
Yeah, it was the blonde guy and the blonde girl. They're like twins, and both of them were playable.
Yeah. Like they were on the cover of the game. They were kind of front and center, kind of like how this dude is, sort of. And they were obviously playable. I think what also kind of helps in his favor is that there's really I guess this helps and hurts because he's a dual sword wielder, and that's not really a class in Fire Emblem. So it's like, first of all, he's unique. He's going to have a unique play style. No one else uses two swords. But it's like, what if they'll be like, oh well, we can't put this in a class, so we're just not.
The obvious class to put him in would be Swordmaster, right?
Possibly.
I guess so. The problem is we haven't really seen how a Swordmaster plays in this game yet. I mean, I do remember in Warriors, the way Lynn and Navarre played, I think they did use 2 swords, but it wasn't
They
like
did.
it wasn't like they had 2 swords out all the time. I think they would have one, and then they would draw the second one out here and there. But I guess it would help to see how like another sword master playing the game to, I guess, make that judgment. And even then, he'd just, I guess, he could just be a clone of whoever the sword master character is. I don't know. Obviously, it'd be less exciting, but we've talked about that before. And Mark said, I think bad version is NPC. You unlock good version after freeing him.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, yeah, you wouldn't play as him from the start. He'd be a bad guy. You beat him. He's like, all right, I'll fight with you guys, and then you could select him. That's what I would think. That seems most logical. But yeah, I mean, hopefully he is. Hopefully, they learn from Warriors, and again, like unlike Darius, he actually is he's a more front and center with this game. And I guess a lot of Warriors games do add at least one unique playable character to their spinoffs. Like Hyrule Warriors, it was Lana, and also then they Sia was playable after an update. Age of Calamity. Oh, Linkle. Oh yeah, I forgot about Linkle. Yeah, Hyrule Warriors added a few unique characters.
Yeah, like Wizro and Volga.
Oh yeah, Wizro, Volga. Then
Hyrule Warriors was actually like the best Warriors game.
It was, yeah.
For character content at the very least.
Definitely. Oh, Persona 5 Strikers added Sophia.
Sonia.
It was Sophia and what's that cop's name? He's really cool. I forget his name though.
Yeah.
Zenkichi. Granted, I feel like they were just sort of fill-ins for Akechi and Kasumi, but even still, they were unique new characters. And then, did Age of Calamity add anyone brand new that was playable?
I guess Suga and the inventor duo. Oh, you mean like brand new?
Yeah, that they weren't in Breath of the Wild.
Oh, yeah. I think they stuck to canon characters for that. Whether that's
I think actually the only new guy, of course, was. Well, wait, were the Koga guys? They're not the Koga guys. The Sheikah guys, were they in Breath of the Wild?
Which Sheikah guys?
Like there's the one master, he's kind of the tubby guy, he's the more goofy one. And then there's the other one that they secretly added as a playable character.
Well, the tubby guy was in Breath of the Wild, but the more bigger, intimidating one, Suga, he was not in Breath of the Wild, at least not as a named character, like that character archetype of like the big Sheikah warrior was in there, but he wasn't a named character.
Mm-hmm. So I guess you could say he was that. I mean, I know he wasn't like a big front center part of the game, and unfortunately, one of the only new characters that were totally brand new was the one villain, and they never made him playable. So there's things going in Purple Guy's favor of that, and there's things that aren't. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess. Do you guys have anything else to add? Any more theories or things you want to expect from this character?
Not that I can really think of, no.
Yeah, I think I've basically exhausted all the theories that I had, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, later, Mark.
Bye, Mark. Thanks for stopping in.
Take care, bud.
All right. Okay, I guess one other thing we can kind of just throw in here because it's somewhat related to Fire Emblem is Advance Wars. For those that are familiar or not familiar, there's Advance Wars. Advance Wars is another game, another strategy RPG made by
Intelligent Systems.
Mm-hmm. To be honest, I've actually never played it. It was always a game I was maybe mildly interested in. I just kind of never pulled the trigger to actually get it. I was just more focused on Fire Emblem. It's kind of how Fire Emblem generally takes place in medieval fantasy times. Advance Wars takes place in modern times, futuristic times.
Closer to modern times, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
It's never explicitly stated like when it's supposed to be taking place, outside of maybe Days of Ruin, which is like in the post-apocalyptic super future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess generally it's modern or futuristic times. Okay, and yeah, I guess I kind of consider it like the since I guess we were talking about Soul Calibur, it's kind of the Soul Calibur to Fire Emblem's Tekken, even though Tekken is the one in the modern times and Soul Calibur is one of the past. But even so, because it's like that game that's a fighting game. It's a game that's a similar genre for a company that is was known and beloved by fans, but it just isn't quite in the limelight as much as the other one, with Soul Calibur just kind of being in Tekken's shadow, but still at least being around and still getting things, thankfully. And they were just recently getting a kind of a remake for Advance Wars 1 and 2, correct?
That's
Yeah,
right.
Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp.
Yeah, and it was supposed to come out for the Switch. It was supposed to come out in the fall, but then they wanted to polish it up a bit and delayed it till April.
Yeah, originally it was supposed to come out like December 4th, I think.
Yeah, thereabouts.
And it recently got delayed to an indefinite release date because of everything.
The war in Ukraine, yes.
Yeah, the stuff going on with Ukraine and Russia. And it was pretty unfortunate news that I think we have fairly strong opinions about. Even like someone like me who is just kind of starting with the series, it's kind of frustrating because I was actually starting to get sort of excited for it. And it was going to be a game I got in April. And now it's like, well, now I don't know when I'm getting it.
Yeah, I was actually watching a video that that Mengs produced on YouTube about Advance Wars and the whole move by Nintendo and whatnot too. Apparently, I think it's being done mostly to show that that people have different perceptions on war. They don't want to be seen as promoting war during a time of war or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it makes sense from a business perspective, if anything else.
Yeah, I totally understand like why it's happening. It's just it just still definitely sucks that it had to happen this way, and not to mention that the delay is so severe that the game actually got nuked off of the Nintendo eShop.
Oh,
Like up until the announcement, you could see Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp in the coming soon section of the Nintendo eShop with the prospective release date. And even before they had a release date, it was up there and it just had 2022. But now it's complete. The page has been completely delisted. It's completely gone from there. There's not even like a page with a prospective release date. It's just been completely wiped from the coming soon slate. I apologize. That is a phone ringing outside of business hours.
it's all right.
Of course I did. Well, and so it was really it's really kind of frustrating because this is something that I've wanted for years, and if past delays for the Advance Wars series are anything to go by, we could be waiting as long as like 3-4 years for the game to be released. Because if I remember correctly, like one of the Advance Wars games, I forget which, because apparently a bunch of them have come out during times of war, or were attempting to come out during times of war, and they had to be delayed. And I believe one of them got delayed from like 2001 to like 2004.
Oh my God.
Or something like that. And so it's like, I understand it from a business perspective, but if they're just going to shelve the game for like a good 3-4 years, that's really disappointing, and it hurts the future of the franchise. Granted, Steam hadn't picked up for it yet because there hadn't really been a lot of advertising for it, probably due to the whole Ukrainian conflict. escalating. But it sucks.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I try not to get very political on this channel. This is probably one of the few exceptions. I think, yeah, like you said, I understand it from a business perspective. I just think I feel like there should have been there had to be a less extreme option. I feel like couldn't you maybe to like delay it a month and just say like, hey, just kind of out of respect of what's going on, we just kind of want to. I mean, I know, yeah, it's still probably gonna be going on, in I guess it would be May. But I don't know, just like something being like, hey, just kind of out of respect what's going on. We're just going to push the game back a little bit, just wait for things to, hopeful, maybe chill out. I don't know what the right wording is there. Or maybe like just say like, hey, we're still releasing this game, but we want to make sure that like, maybe some like additional thing they can promote, like, this game is not supporting war or promoting war, this something like that. Or maybe even say like, hey, profits that this would probably actually help.
Proceeds could go toward the crisis.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would have been I think have been a move that would have been kinder to both the fans of the game and what's going on. Now, I guess I know they probably can't do that immediately, but I feel like I don't know. I just think there could have been a less extreme option than what they did. And I think my thing is I don't like when something bad is going on in the world and people are bummed about it and all that, and it's like because of it we have to lose out on something fun and positive just because of that. Like let's make like I know they're not meaning to do that, but it kind of comes off that way, like they're kind of making stuff more negative because of what's going on. And I think it's just you should focus on making things more positive than more negative, if that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, it's like there's a lot of bad stuff going on, and it's like people need an escape, even if it's a war game. Although, of course, me saying that as an American, as someone entirely divorced from the Ukrainian conflict outside of seeing it on the news, it's very easy for me to say something like that. I do recognize that that does come off as insensitive, but it's a bad situation.
No kidding about that.
I think like obviously it should be kind of left up to the person that's buying the game. Like, like, hey, like if you're buying the game, you probably know what it's about because you're at least somewhat familiar with the series. They're like, oh yeah, it was a game that released back on the GBA and DS. It was kind of like a war game. You at least be like, all right, I like this game seems interesting to me, but what's going on right now, like, it just seemed a little too it's hitting a little too close to home. I'm gonna hold off on buying it until maybe things chill out a bit. And obviously it's easier for us to just be like, yeah, it is kind of close to what's going on, but we're not directly dealing with it. So it's a better escape for us than someone maybe in, I guess, Ukraine or Russia that would be buying the game. I also don't even know how their game releases work over there either.
Yeah, I know that Nintendo and among other companies recently, stopped selling, digital games over in Russia as part of the sanctions on them, as penance for the ongoing conflict.
Exactly, not to mention just eShop's gone dark. Everything's just pretty much been cut off at this point. There's nothing going in.
Yeah, and all sorts of streaming services have been shut down. Basically, if anything fun was going to happen in Russia, it's not anymore. But more to, well, and thinking on it more, I do kind of understand that, where it's like, oh, I'll hold off on buying the game, but then the argument becomes, well, like, oh, if like 100,000 people feel that way, then the game doesn't sell, and then there's no future for Advance Wars because because of the climate, where it's like, oh, they're releasing it during a time of war, that's insensitive, I'm not going to buy it, and then all of a sudden there's no remakes for Dual Strike or Days of Ruin or no new potential games for the
I
rest
don't,
of.
I don't think that'll happen though, honestly, because that would just be too much of a kickback, really. Besides, this whole thing isn't going to be forever either, and I don't know. It's a lot to think about at the moment. It sucks and all that too, but this will go by too. And right now, I think we should focus on helping out the people in Ukraine too, doing what we can.
Mhm. Yeah,
I was
I
also
do.
going to. I was going to say, couldn't they just not release the game in Russia and Ukraine for a bit?
I
Yeah, but
suppose
I guess
so.
it's about optics and all of that, where it's
Mhm.
like people in America and people across the world, just based on the rise of social media and all that, are very reactionary when it comes to
Yeah.
things like that. Even if it's not something that they're directly involved in, if it's like perceived as insensitive or in bad taste, then people are going to let you know about it.
Yeah, they'll come down like a ton of friggin' bricks.
See, I just would not. Me, I would just not post. I'm about getting the game on social media. That's what I just would not do.
Yeah, I mean, like ultimately, like the news of the delay is extremely upsetting, especially since it could be, for all we know, it could be a multi-year delay. Um, but as long as the game still comes out and isn't quietly canceled because of all this,
Oof.
I'm okay with waiting. I've waited about 10 years for a new Advance Wars game. I suppose I can wait a little longer.
Yeah. I mean, like, it probably wasn't as. I mean, it still sucks for me, but it probably wasn't as harsh for me just because I have less of an attachment to the series.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
like I said, I was still looking forward to it coming out. And I think as it was getting closer, I'm like, all right, this is cool. I'm looking
yeah, I
forward
mean,
to it. And it's like,
anybody that has watched this channel in particular has watched the I think it was last year or the year before's E3 Nintendo Direct, knows how excited I was for Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. So it does come as a blow, I would say.
and actually, as someone that's trying to get in the series, am I wrong to be more excited? I was a little more interested in Days of Ruin.
I mean, I've never played Days of Ruin. Steve can tell you more about that than I can.
Mm.
Like, I'm personally a bigger fan of the Saturday morning cartoon style of the original games, 1, 2, and Dual Strike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the
But
pixel art was a very nice touch of that.
oh yeah, but I do understand the allure of the more modern Fire Emblem-esque look of Days of Ruin.
Oh, Days of Ruin. It wasn't 2D, or it wasn't 2D pixels.
It was,
It
but like
had the sprites and pixels were more realistic, so to speak. Like had a more of a grittier, darker, grimy sort of tone to them. Like this is in the middle of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
The character designs reminded me more of like Fire Emblem characters than Advance Wars characters, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Maybe that's why it appealed to me a bit more, because it just looked a little bit more like Fire Emblem, but obviously in modern times. But I mean, all of them look, either of them are interesting to me. That one was just kind of the one that I think I had my eye on the most.
That's fair. And I mean, that's another thing too, is that like while there's a delay, there's no better time to go back and explore the older games.
And
If you have a way to play them, I should say.
are you are they connected story wise? I mean, I'm guessing 1 and 2 are, but are Dual Strike and Days of Ruin connected?
Dual Strike and Days of Ruin are not connected. It's a separate continuity, as far as I know.
Yeah, that's from what I can tell as well.
Okay.
But Steve, in terms of like story continuity. What would you have to say about that?
Between
About 1, 2, and Dual Strike.
you mean in relation to Days of Ruin, like you were saying?
No, in regards to each other, 1, 2, and Days of Ruin. I mean, Dual Strike.
Yeah, there's definitely a relation there, considering Advance Wars 1 starts off with one conflict, Advance Wars 2 is a direct continuity from that whole thing, and then Dual Strike picks up from there. So they're definitely intertwined. It's a trilogy, so to speak.
Yeah, although oddly enough, I've never played Advance Wars 2, so I was looking forward to experiencing it in Reboot Camp. And I've only played some of Advance Wars 1. Dual Strike is the one that I have the most experience with.
Gotcha.
And it was Dual Strike on the DS?
Yes.
Okay, I figured Dual Strike. I know they were all about that back then.
Oh yeah. Like how Resident Evil on the DS was called Resident Evil Deadly Silence.
Yeah.
Anything with a DS styled pun to it, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's all we really have to say about that. Hopefully, first of all, things get better with, all Russia, Ukraine, that all gets sorted out.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Then, hopefully then, when that gets all sorted out, Nintendo can kind of give us another release date, and it won't be too far off for Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, hopefully. But
it'd be nice if we could get like a confirmation of like a Dual Strike reboot as well.
That would be nice.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see where it goes, though.
Yeah.
But
do you think they'll do a reboot? I mean, I know we haven't got these two games yet. Do you think they'll do a remake of Days of Ruin?
I think so. I would like to see a sequel of that, honestly, because that was a fantastic game.
Did it end on a cliffhanger or something?
No, it definitely has a solid conclusion to it, but still, I'd love to see where it goes from there.
Okay.
Well, Steve, I feel like I was talking a lot during that segment? Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Not really. I think you guys covered everything for the most part. So,
all right. I just didn't want to, be monopolizing the conversation or anything like that.
Nah, you're good. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
All right.
All right. Well, I think this was a pretty solid discussion. I know to people that I guess were just sort of coming in for the Fire Emblem stuff, I apologize if we went off subject a bit. I figured it was at least relevant enough to mention in this kind of video, just with the connection Fire Emblem and Advance Wars have, even though I know this game we're talking about isn't made by Intelligent Systems.
Oh, yeah. It's made by Way Forward.
Or you mean Koei Tecmo?
Oh, right. I got confused as to which game we were talking about. Because the remakes of Advance Wars are not actually made by Intelligent Systems either. They're made by Way Forward.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, I guess I meant Three Hopes is made by Koei Tecmo. But then,
yeah.
Wait, but then Way
Forward did
it's an Intelligent Systems series. I guess we might as well say that much.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you for anyone that joined us today. And if you would join us live, definitely let us know what you think in the comments below about what you think the deal is. The Purple Dude is. If you want to comment on anything with Advance Wars stuff, definitely let us know. Thank you guys for joining us at the Skullstar and Epyon Gaming. Thanks for joining me again today.
Anytime.
And like the video if you like it, dislike if you dislike it. Definitely subscribe and help the channel out a lot. I also got a Discord in the description below. Got a Patreon as well. But again, once again, thank you. And as I always say, another time, another place. Keep being awesome.
See you around, everybody.
Bye-bye.